You
Mm-hmm.
probably made more money the last three than you had in prior 10, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's true.
And so what we've got to look at is not attributed to the greatness of James Watkins, although you were smart enough to stay at it until the compounding start hitting. And once people realize that, you stay at it, and then the compounding is inevitable. And then that's like an airplane taking off. And then you wonder, how come it took you 3 years to accomplish what it took to 10? Well, the compounding,
Right.
people, everything started compounding, and it really did a great job of explaining compounding. So, Tony, are we ready?
I was a little distracted when you were saying that because I was ordering that book right when you said the name. I went ahead and bought it. I was like, yeah, I said, man, hey, I mean, that's the biggest thing is, you got to listen to Success Leaves Clues. Jim Rohn said you become like the books that you read and the people you hang around. So when you say a book title, it's like, bam, I'm
You know,
ordering that. I got a stack of them.
I'm that same way. As soon as I hear someone, and like Tony talked about that book, Worthy, I was on it. And it's my mind, God places books and people in your path. And so if it resonates, especially if it's got something to do with titles like this, I'm on it. And I'm rereading, by the way, You Need to Make More Money. And I'm about 10, 15 pages into it, and I'm shaking my head. But anyway, we got James Watkins on. And for everyone to know, we will be here next Tuesday. We're not shutting down. The only thing we're not doing is having biblical encouragement call that Wednesday like we normally do. We're missing that. And then again, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Dallas time, Tony and Shanika will be doing a women, and she'll be doing a little promo towards the end. But it's not just for women. I'm going to be on it. I'm going to be a silent partner on it, but I'm going to be on it because I want to hear and I want to get better. I want to figure out my personal blind spots that have hurt me. So, James, if we'll start, Tony, with the PowerPoint. I went through a lot of notes I've had, taking from some top books I've read regarding money. And we had that wonderful session last Friday with Omar Oropesa. And we first have to get right with money. And we're going to be talking about goals in a session in a second. And all right, Tony, you have the first slide. I'm going to have James comment on these because I want to hear what he has to say. And nearly 95% of the people, this came from Dennis Kimbrough's book, live by clearly defined goals. Again, 95% of the millionaires that he interviewed, only 25% replied that goal setting is the key to financial success. We asked, how do you view yourself? Nearly 50% responded goal-oriented. As one Florida respondent said, whose net worth exceeded 50 million, it's impossible to do extraordinary things when you are thinking ordinary thoughts. And another seven-figure participant chimed in, how you think is who you become. So comment on this and how you have to have some idea where you're going and some aim. I've never been one, James. I heard John Addison say, I've never been a goal setter. That's not, what he became CEO of this company, public company. He better be a goal setter. If not, Wall Street's going to be all over him. Where is this company going? Now, he may not have had any personal financial goals, but he had to have some goals. So talk about that, James, and how the power in the response is it's impossible to do extraordinary things when you are thinking ordinary thoughts.
Yeah, when I listening to you here, I just hear you saying what I've learned the last 17, 18 years being around you. What I've heard the last 17, 18 years being around you, which is, goals are to the mind what food, oxygen, and water is to the body. And before Primerica, I was goal oriented. I just didn't know how to probably like write them down properly and have them written and all those things like that. But hanging around you, who introduced me to Tommy Newberry and Success is Not an Accident and all the other books that you have, Think and Grow Rich and everything else, and being in the primary environment has taught me that skill. I just believe that we are hardwired. I think God made us that way, to be goal focused. Whether you say, "Oh, I intentionally set goals," you're getting what you want out of life one way or another. So even if you're not where you want to be, but you want to be comfortable maybe, and you don't you don't have to do much or whatever. You successfully do those things. It's just something that's innate, that's inside of us, that calls us to go toward what we want to have happen. We are all goal directed. We make choices and things like that. So,
I got a 15-month-old grandson. He can't speak, but man, he can wail. And when he's hungry, he wails. And so that's that thing that God puts in us for him to let us know that he needs to be fed. And then we need to change a diaper. He wails. These things are innate, and it's not foreign. It's, well, I'm just not a goal setter. Well, you're defying the way you were built and created. Next one, please, Tony. Wealth begins in the mind. This is straight from Dennis Kimbrough, The Wealth Choice. Wealth is a byproduct of your thinking. I can't make you wealthy by giving you a handout, but I can place you on the road to prosperity by teaching you what I know. Wealth and poverty are literally states of mind. True wealth lies when the human spirit and is attitudinal. It stems from the ability to sacrifice today for the sake of tomorrow, and consists not chiefly in things, but in thought. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. And as another author said, your thoughts are showing. And again, it's your thinking. Think and grow rich. Take a look at what your income is. That's a reflection of your thinking. What's your net worth? That's a reflection of your thinking. How many recruits have you got this month? That's a byproduct of your thinking. Again, I can't place you on the road. I can place you by teaching you what I know. And that's what we're doing today, aren't we, James? Because people who are working today, sacrificing today for the sake of tomorrow. Very few Americans are willing to do that. I take a look at the national debt and how it's going through the roof. And why? Because we Americans today say, let the next generation pay for it. I want to live all the goodies today. I want to have all the fun today. And our kids are going to be paying for it. And the other thing is, James, comment on it. In our business, you shouldn't be doing anything that doesn't make you money. That's what a business is. It's a money creation enterprise. Talk about these things, James, and how it's a state of the mind and what you're thinking all the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, probably everything I'm gonna say today, Coach, is gonna say, man, it's gonna come from who you hang around and the books you read. Because for me personally, if I can remember, a lot of things that I've learned and I picked up in my primary career and being exposed to a lot of successful and wealthy people, I kind of feel like now it's just like natural instinct to me, but I know I had to study some stuff to develop these thoughts. But most people, like growing up like us, I know I was trained to be broke because of the people that I hung around with. My thought process was go to work, make enough money to pay your bills, get by, maybe have a nice life, with a nice car, a nice house, and, hope that it all works out. But when you start hanging around wealthy people and you start reading books like this, you start to understand that wealth creation, again, it starts in the mind, but you go to work to invest. Like now, I'm always thinking about how much money am I putting away so that my money can make me more money. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so I go make money to put away so that my money makes me more money and I don't always have to go make the money. And that's a wealthy state of mind. Totally contrary to my thought process years ago and growing up. Even when I talk to friends and family and stuff like that, you know, you and some of your teammates, you know, it's like thinking, man, I gotta go make enough money because my bills say I gotta make $5,000 a month. Okay. And at $5,000 a month, my lights are paid, my mortgage is paid, my car's paid, food is on the table. My question is, but what about the investing part?
Saving,
See,
right.
yeah, what about the savings and the investing part, right? And so it is a thought, it is a function of your mind. Most of us or none of us have really grew up around people that were wealthy, but the wealthy just believe in abundance. They have an abundant mentality that thinks, how do I create more?
Thank you, James. Next one, please. You're going to love that book, The Money Psychology of Money. Then you're going to love it. Money is a mindset. If you want to know how people feel about themselves, look at their bank account. Money is the greatest measurement of your mindset. And the author of the book, Dennis Kimbrough, was shocked when he went and interviewed John Johnson, the founder of Ebony, and the first words out of John Johnson's mouth was, "Why aren't you rich?" And he said, I was embarrassed because I had never even thought about becoming rich. I just thought about paying my bills and making a living. So how does this work for you, James? And it says, money is the greatest measurement of your mindset. It's a measurement. It's a dipstick. It's a ruler. It's it's something that we ought to be measuring constantly. How much money am I making? Because it tells me how well I'm doing in the thought process. Talk about that, James.
Yeah, you know, and of course, you know, in our business and who we hang around and different things like that. I mean, everybody. I mean, it is a measurement because we are in the money business. We wear a ring with so many diamonds in it. Like, how much are you making? It's part of our culture. So for me, I remember reading this statement right here, and I don't know, like maybe the first two times I saw this, I thought, why aren't I rich? You know, when he asked Dennis Kimbrough that, like I knew I've always wanted to become rich, but later, early on in life, you think that like rich is something that happens to you versus rich being something that you
Right.
make happen. So it's like, oh, these people over here, oh, they're rich. Like, man, they lucked out somehow. They family, they was born into wealth or whatever. Like it wasn't possible for me. You had to know somebody, you had to tattoo
Right.
somebody to get there, walk over somebody to get there or whatever. It wasn't like it was an option that I could deliberately say, okay, give me the books to read, the people to meet, and give me the opportunity and let me go create that. But when I read that, I thought the same thing Dennis Kimbrough did.
You know, this past weekend, Tiger Woods played golf tournament with his 11-year-old son, Charlie, and they showed side by side their swings. His 11-year-old son has the exact swing as Tiger Woods. And my thought is, I wish my dad played golf, had taught me all those things. And the winner of it was a guy named Thomas, I forgot his last name. Anyway, Justin Thomas, and his father was a professional golf teacher. So if your father is a professional golf teacher, well, that sure helps a lot. Here's the reality. None of us come from any background where we were taught anything, but that doesn't give us an excuse to stay where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
That says, you know, inequality of income. I wasn't born rich. My parents weren't born rich. Yeah, well, join the club, right? Like I love what Bill Gates said. If you were born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it is your fault. Talk about that for a second, James, and how we should be conscious that we are here to achieve great things with our lives, and we can't use any background, any circumstances as excuses.
Charles Widener, I also heard when you were saying that, Charles Widener used to say all the time, say, James, you know, I forget who he had an example to, but he's like, you know, some of these guys that got rich because their daddy was rich, but our daddies wasn't rich. So we got to go out here and do it. We got to go out here and build it because our daddies didn't do it. And that, I just think that's so true. Last night, I told you guys as I started out, I was doing a goal setting session with our team. And last night, my son came home. He had his paper, his worksheet done with his goals, and he had his goals there. And our Bill would always say our children would do what we do to excess. And so, if we have an expectation to go create wealth and build wealth and the money mindset, we will transfer on to them what it is that we do. You just can't do what you don't teach. I mean, what you don't know. I'm sorry. So, Coach, that's my biggest thought on that.
Even Warren Buffett, people say, well, he was born into an upper class family. You know something, though? When he was 10 years old, he was throwing newspapers. No, he was still working. It's not that everybody says, yeah, but all those, why do we keep looking to these rich people that were born to rich people? We got to be taking a look at all of America and how all of us got wealthy. 99.9999% did not come in this book. Not one of these people in the wealth choice came from wealth. Every one of these people came from dirt, poor circumstances, like you did, James, and I did. And we've got to stop be feeling the victim that all these rich people. If my daddy had been born rich, well, he wasn't. Joined the club. But Art Williams' father was, and he was a manager of a pickle factory down in Cairo, Georgia. Bobby Buisson's father wasn't rich. I wasn't rich. None of us. But see, that's the joy. Again, if you're born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault. Next one, please. This is from the book, Need More Money. Whew. Once you realize that you need more money, this is a question that keeps you up at night. I still need more money, not to pay bills, but to fulfill my potential, to live my life to the fullest, to provide long-lasting security for my wife and our 3 boys, and to help more people. See, James, a lot of people are saying, James, how much is enough? Don't you have enough, James? Why do you want to make more money, James? Are you still working, James? If I were you, man, I'd be quitting. I'd be retired. You see that? See how their mindset is exposed?
Yep, absolutely. This is one of my favorite books. You and Omar, you guys did your talk, and you had your 3 books, and I was sitting there thinking the whole time, like, man, there's so many books that I like, and I was like, I would have to put You Need More Money in my top 3. And when you really understand that even if you're all good, there's always a need out there that you can help people with. So you always need more money. You'll have things that come up. I'll share a personal story. Man, my dad got COVID about a week and a half ago from my nephew, 18-year-old basketball player, and they live with my dad. And so, I told my dad soon as he got sick, I said, man, you need to go to the hospital, man. Make sure they check you out. We men. So you know how we men do it. Nah, I'm good. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I said, look, no. You don't understand. This thing can make a turn for the worse at any time. So, make a long story short, a week and a half goes by. I text him. Every morning he wakes up at 5:30, 5 o'clock. This is about 6:30. He didn't respond. I like, okay, he may be rested, maybe a little beat up. And so I waited about 9:30. I texted him. He still did not text me back. I was like, okay, man, he feeling bad. Like, this ain't no way. I know all my life he is up and at him about this time. So I talked to my nephew. I said, hey, where's your pawpaw? And he said, well, he's in there laying down. He's sleeping. I said, have y'all checked on him? He's like, yeah, man, but he's sleeping. I said, he's feeling bad. If he's still in the bed at 10 o'clock in the morning, he is feeling bad. So Friday, I text him and I say, hey, you need to go ahead and get to the doctor. He stops communicating with me then. I said, yeah, he's so stubborn. Sunday night, my sister texts me, like, have you heard from Dad? I was like, nah, because he quit talking to me on Friday. So I call him up and I say to him, and this all goes along there. I say to him, I say, hey, man, ain't nobody heard from you. What's going on? He's like, yeah, I ain't feeling good. I said, you need to get to the doctor now. I'm calling the ambulance. You on your way. You out of here. And his first saying, this was his comeback. How am I going to pay for the ambulance? I said, you don't have to worry about that. I got this. You don't worry about your bills. I got this. Coach, you have always said one day you got to write the check. And this ain't the first time, but it's, I've had to do something like this, but it was just the fact that I could tell him, look, don't be stupid. Get to the doctor now. And before we started this call, actually during this call now, he just texted me to say, hey, I'm COVID free. They letting me go from the hospital. I'm on my way home now. My brother-in-law's picking him up and he's good. But when I spoke to his nurse teammates, they told me, the nurse said, well, we got him on some breathing treatment. He's doing better, but this was starting to become pneumonia.
Wow.
Okay. So now what if I did not have the money to say, don't worry about getting to the hospital, try to tough it out, focus out? We'd be having a totally different conversation. You understand? So you need more money, and it ain't always for you. Your success blesses others, and your lack of success is a burden to somebody. Go make more money than you need, and I guarantee you somebody will find you with a need that you could go out there and be a blessing with them with. That's why you need more money. You can't make enough.
And James, you talk about that, and two things hit me. Number one, he probably didn't go to the doctor because he didn't have the money, or he want to pay for it. A lot of people will not go to the doctor unless the insurance pays for it. And a lot of people are saying, well, I'll pray for you. You could have said, I'll pray for you, do what I'm telling you to do. But the minute you said, I'm sending the ambulance over, he was relieved. And, because you had the foresight to make money years ago, and you didn't know why you were motivated to make money years ago. Mm-hmm. And you never know why you're motivated to make money. Why are you making it? I don't know. And one day you're going to know it. Next one, please. Great story.
It's like you say, Coach, you got to dig your well before you get thirsty.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. And this is Kimbrough, multiple streams of income. The one money rule, be your own boss. The sooner the better. Millionaires never depend on one income source. Instead, they create a number of revenue streams. Create multiple streams of income. Money is like oxygen. They got this from You Need More Money. You don't have it. When you don't have it, only then you realize how vitally important it is. It's like oxygen. Money's not important. Well, either is oxygen until you need it. Talk about that, James, and how you only create, again, reason why you want a net worth, so you have multiple streams of income, because your net worth is not in one stock. It's in 30 or 40 different stocks.
Absolutely.
And then you multiple RVPs. Why? Multiple streams of income. Most people never commit to this, do they, James?
No, sir. I think this is the brilliance. If for everybody on this call that's listens to Bill Orender and that Omar call here, because in business, you got people all around the world in different ways that make money and succeed in business, but don't necessarily know what to do with the money. And in our business, we can make a lot of money building the business. Yes. Okay. But if we practice those principles, which is invest a lot of money in your mutual funds and, whatever stock portfolio or whatever other streams of income you want to create, we teach people about money. So I'm saying you can make a high income, do the right things with those income. Like I say, you make money to go put your money in places to make you even more money. I heard Omar saying the other day on Friday, he was making more money this year outside of his Primerica business than he was making in Primerica. Buisan said numerous times, his $4 million a year that he makes inside of Primerica just pays his taxes. He said, that's just my taxes. That pays my taxes, because he got a lot of other money coming outside of here. In order to be bulletproof, Coach, which is what you've always taught me, it's not enough just to have, my business. What if the government changes a law and requires a 4-year degree on your life insurance license or something like that? What if they do something stupid that just totally knocks your business out and all you got is your Primerica business? Then now you're going to be, in a tough spot. You got to have other streams of income. So there's different things that, we teach clients. You investing in mutual funds, putting away. Coaches always said that. Put away your money in mutual funds. It's December now. Every December, Coach, I don't know if you do this. Well, you probably don't anymore, but I I don't know if you're weird like me, but I go through all the mutual fund statements and I look at the capital gains that got paid.
Right.
I look at the dividends that got paid. I got some stock that's done very well because I bought some or whatever, different things like that. But I'm constantly looking at multiple streams of income. Anything that I put away is like soldiers going to work for me, making more money. So
Oh, I love it.
you got to have multiple streams of income.
Like battling the financial the battles that you got soldiers battling it. Like in Canada, they changed the laws up there where they're not going to be selling you much mutual funds as they used to. So again, but if you got a net worth, you're bulletproof. The next one, please. Purse strings. Money isn't everything. No, it's not when you've got it. The purse strings are your life strings. If you want to know who's in charge of your life, ask who's in charge of your money. Admit who holds the purse strings in your life, like a boss, a job, a company. How much responsibility do you have to your money? Who is the CFO, Chief Financial Officer of your personal world? You know how many people are losing their jobs because of COVID or having your pay cuts? And again, who's in charge of your purse strings? Talk about that, James, and how you've got to make that decision about money. And that's what that means. Who's in charge of the money coming to you, you or a boss?
Absolutely. It's like who's in charge of you.com? Who's running your business? And I challenge every time when I'm talking to the team and our prospective recruits and different things like that. I'm saying, who's ever gonna, like most people, like when you go to work, if you have a job, you'll agree that you probably don't get paid what you're worth, but you have absolutely no control over that. The only way to get ahead financially is to get paid more than what you're worth. Name one business owner or employer that will pay you more than what you're worth. You. That's it. Nobody else. It's
right.
Only you. So you got to be in business for yourself, meaning you like running your mutual fund accounts and your stock accounts and all those other mutual real estate, whatever you got, plus your primary business. That's just a conglomerate of businesses that pay you, but you are in charge. You're the CFO. You're the person that's running all those different streams of income there. But nobody's going to ever overpay you except for you. You got to be in charge.
If you're 40 years old and you have your net worth is negligible, you fire yourself. You're a bad CFO. Next one, please. If you don't come from a wealthy family, I got this from you, James. If you don't come from a wealthy family better come from you. Money doesn't buy happiness, but poverty doesn't buy anything at all. Comment on these, James.
Yeah. Coach, as this, it has to start at some generation. You have to make the decision somewhere. Like I said earlier, most of us didn't come from money, if not all of us. I know I didn't, but it's just really funny, Coach. At 8, maybe 9 years old, I knew I needed to make more money. And I shoveled snow. I had a lemonade stand. I did all those things that you're supposed to do. And in school, I would go to school with kids that I thought were wealthy, because they had a nice car. Maybe they were going to Florida during spring break. Me and my friends were going to the basketball court in the park during spring break. And the kids would be like, Bear. They called me Bear. Said, Bear, what are you doing in spring break? I was like, well, I'm going to McCullough Park to play basketball. Like, what are you doing? Oh, well, my parents letting us use our vacation home down in Florida. I was like, how do you get that? And my parents and the friends of my parents, when I asked them, how do those kids go to Florida during spring break to a second home that they got, and we barely had a first home, how did they do that? And they would say they went to college. Their parents went to college. Your parents didn't. So I bought into the I'm going to school, not, I'm gonna go to school and then that'll help me. And it wasn't until I started hanging around wealthy people and I got wealthy friends in Primerica that I really understood, okay, This is how the wealth game is played. Wealthy people buy assets, poor middle class people buy liabilities. Okay, if I'm going to change direction in the Watkins family, if I'm going to be the picture over the mantle, over the fireplace, I have to create wealth. I have to think wealth. I have to buy assets instead of liabilities. And I have to not only do those things, but I also have to teach those things to the next generation. So when I read those quotes, that's what I think about.
All right, next one, please. Excellent, excellent comment. Benjamin Mays talks about not to reach one goals is not nearly as bad as not having no goal to reach. Again, not to reach one goals. I didn't reach my goals. Well, that's not as bad as I don't have a goal at all. And Leah Coca said the discipline of writing down something down is the first step toward making it happen. You got to write down your goals. You just can't say, I got it up here. Talk about how important, James, it is for you to have made the shift to a goal setter, and you write down your goals. And if you want it, you better write it down. And we're going to be going through some goals I think people should have in a few seconds. So talk about that, James.
The Bible says that when God created the world, he spoke. And I really think that's just as powerful for us as we create when we put pen to paper. It's like we speak, we start designing our future. It's like it costs nothing to take an ink pen and say, this is what I want to have in life. This is who I want to become in life. But you become a creator just as powerful when you put a pen to paper and say, okay, this is in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, in a year from now, this is what my life's going to look like. Goals is very, very powerful. I texted you yesterday just thanking you for teaching and always talking about goals, is because most of the things that I wrote down in 1999 when I first met you, and you didn't know me, Coach, from anybody, and you recommended, books like Rich Dad Poor Dad and Success is Not an Accident. I was way in Indiana writing I wrote 150 goals down like Tommy Newberry told you. And I still, to this day, I have that paper. I always lose it. I find it about once or twice a year. Yeah. But when I pull that paper out and I check and I look, I say, man, I did this. Man, I did that. I didn't even know back in that time I was thinking about doing this, but that was on my mind then.
Right.
It's very, very powerful, and we create our future, and we pull our future into our present when we start putting down on paper what we want to have happen in our lives with goals.
I tell people, one of the first goals you got to have is, how old do you want to be when you die?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I don't have any control on that. Oh, really? Walk around without a mask. Drive a motorcycle without a helmet. We all die way before God's ready for us to.
Mm-hmm.
Because we disobeyed. Next one, please. Turn your mind into an ally. In other words, have something in your life which helps you achieve your goals. Pick your destination. It's the destination setting, plan the journey, the route. What numbers would make you happy? In other words, the future could be written today, like you were saying. We can bring it into current existence. Destination setting. Where are you 10 years from now? Where are you living? What kind of car are you driving? What kind of house you living in? What's your hierarchy look like? The route. If you wanted to go to California, you say, well, in 6 months, I'm going to California. You'd pull out a map and you start mapping it out. And again, what numbers in Primerica, in life, in income, and net worth would make you happy? Talk about, you've got to be thinking about these things, because it's think and grow rich, not sit back and wait for something good to happen.
In talking about turning your mind into an ally, you had to think about what you're thinking about. That's big time. I'm a big TV fan. I love movies and all those types of things there too. But even with that, you have to be all the social media and all this other kind of stuff. You got to be careful. This is my take on this. you got to be careful of when you're not thinking about your goals, when you are just,
Right.
it's the holiday season, maybe allow yourself to get a little unfocused. You with family, you start watching something crazy or reading something stupid on social media, and next thing you know, you get off track, you start drifting. And so the mind will work for you when you employ it correctly. When you feeding it goes. I mean, I think you have to fight so many distractions today. You have to fight to keep your mindset on where you want to be. Okay, because it's very easy to get off track. I mean, it's so much, Coach, that goes on in our daily lives. But you got to choose what you're thinking about, choose what you're allowing yourself to see, choose what you're allowing yourself to watch, and all those things. I just think that's a way of life. I can't even say that even when you make it, you can always just kind of relax your efforts there. I think that's a constant battle. So next thing you know, you'll lose a year of your life because you got focused
Oh,
on something stupid. You got a friend of yours call you up. You know what? I got this idea that you should be doing in Primerica, or I got this idea you could make some money. James said make some extra money outside of Primerica, and we can go do this other business with Primerica. No, that ain't what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you got to guard your mind, every interest of your heart, and focus on your goals, where you want to go, right? And you don't get off track nowhere else. Everybody that's winning right now, big time, in a big, big way, it's just a matter of focus. What's your presentation? What are you saying? What do you do? All this other kind of stuff. It ain't that. It's the focus and the intensity. How focused on it. See, when you off goofing off on Saturday and Sunday, the people that's really doing big things, they're still playing. They still focus with intensity on those goals. So they got their brain, they got that mind of theirs engaged in hitting those goals.
James, you mentioned it earlier, that just as the body needs food, water, and oxygen, the mind needs goals, dreams, and hopes. Talk about that. What does that mean? You got to feed. You just said it a second. The mind is fed off those things, and most people are living lives of malnutrition mentally.
Absolutely. It's like yeah, I tell of myself a little bit. Before I call or before my hierarchy call this morning, I just wanted something cold to drink. I wanted a lemonade. I wanted a lemonade. And they had on that they had on the daggum Whataburger menu, Coach, biscuits and gravy. And I
Yeah.
said, man, I sure would like that. But I was like, I don't think I need to be putting that in my body. I was like, well, every once in a while it's okay. I was like, yeah, that's what you said the other day when you had those chips. I was like, okay, no, 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 no. Too much garbage in equals garbage out. You need to know, you need to be very conscious of what you are putting in. You need to know how much time you're focusing on your goals, how much time you're focusing on where you want to go, how much you putting in this thing as far as books and audios and different things. You should be aware of that. Like I said, you should be thinking of what you're thinking of. Otherwise, you will drift. You'll go off into something that you didn't even realize 6 months had passed. And man, here it is. I'm just all into sports, or I'm just all into this political thing right now, or I'm just all into something else or whatever. You just got to be careful that you limit the drifts. You're gonna drift. You're going to. It's human nature. But I'm plugging into things like this right now, Coach. Like with you, I'm listening to. I got a routine every year at the end of the year. I'm already my success is not an accident thing like that because I know the holidays is it's going to create some drift. And so I want to limit that as much as possible.
All right, thanks. Thank you. Excellent. Next one, please. And Shanika, you got some great chats coming. Thank you. Here is a 2030, 10 years from now, 9 years to be exact. What would be your perfect day? Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? How does this make you feel? How's your physical? I got this all from Tommy Newberry, by the way. How much is your net worth? What is your
Good
annual
stuff.
income? How much money are you donating annually? How many total RVPs do you have? And then, of course, I put the first, second, and third generation. You can write these down. That's the beginning. That's your perfect day. You're sitting 2030. And whatever you put down in writing, again, you got a 100% chance of it happening. You don't have a 0%. You got a 100% chance. Now, You may get drift, you may do this, do that, but if you don't want to put anything down, you got 100% chance of none of this happening. Talk about that, James, and how powerful this page can be.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to what I was saying, about creating your future. We are all wealthy with choice. And so you're deciding that now. Like, I mean, the physical life jumps out to me, and the net worth, of course, and your annual income. But the choices that you have to make is like, you don't wait until 2030 gets here and then say, oh, okay, now since it's 2030, now let me do this. No, you're working on 2030 long before 2030 ever comes, right? So you're becoming those people. It's the habits that you're starting to develop and the choices that you're making there that's getting you there. So you got to be planning on those things, Coach. I mean, does that make sense what I'm saying here?
It does. And you're wealthy with choice. And put numbers down. You don't have to believe them. You can't believe them, because if you put numbers down and you believe them, that means they're too small. You got to put numbers down and go, I don't know how this is going to happen, but like he says in Think and Grow Rich, I'm waiting for a plan to attain these goals. So you put the numbers down and then you wait to figure it out. And then you start thinking, well, that's why when people don't double digit, they don't have any of this. Mm-hmm. The only reason you double digit is it's what? It sets compounding in motion. Next page, please. Tony, by the way, thank you very much for all you're doing. I got this from Psychology of Money. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up in the morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. The common denominator of happiness. You cannot have happiness if you don't have control of your life. You cannot have it. So if people have a job and they got a 9 to 5 and their income's limited, they cannot be totally happy because they have no control in their life, because it is verified. Happiness has got to do with control. The ability to do what you want with who you want for as long as you want is priceless. It is the highest dividend money pays. That, James, most people have never reconciled that the only way they can have the freedom they want to do what they want, they've got to have a hierarchy. They've got to override people, have multiple sources of income. This is our last page, James. And then we'll close it in a second with Tony and Shanika. I'm going to ask you to get on, Shanika, and promote tomorrow night. So, James, give us your thoughts on this, and then we'll go over to Tony and Shanika.
I believe, Coach, when you listen to Art and all the early founders, this is what you guys talked about. It was the freedom of time with the money to enjoy it and being able to own your life. And in a lot of ways, a lot of people talk about a lot of different things, and maybe that message has been, kind of swept under the rug a little bit. But when I talked to Brad Gerard the other day, I talked to you, of course, all the time. But everybody that I respect and I admire in Primerica, this is what they talk about. I wanted freedom. I wanted to own my life. I wanted to control my life. I didn't want nobody to have their thumb on my back anymore. And, Primerica has given us a way to do that, and that's producing RVPs. And when you're doing the right thing with that explosive income that we have, you look at our income. Just anybody. You can look at Shanika. Shanika went from 150 to close to 400,000 here in the last year. You look at my income. We went from 2 to 3 over the last year or so. That stuff just don't happen. Willie Naranjo, he did his call yesterday, went from 1.2 to 3 million in the last 12 months. It's an explosive income. Where else can you go and have an opportunity to explode your income that allows you to invest that money to put away so you get this right here ultimately, which is freedom? So that's what it's all about to me, Coach.
Last thing, James, and I'll let you go. What are the 3 books you said you would have? Your 3 books. I think people would like to know that.
Well, Success is Not an Accident for sure. Think and Grow Rich and You Need More Money by Matt Monero will be my 3 books.
All right, James. Thank you very much, James. This has been phenomenal. Tony and Shanika, you're on tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Dallas time, at this same station.
Yes.
Shanika, tell us what could be, what is tomorrow night and what could be expected? And then Tony, you follow up from there.
Well, first of all, I'm excited, super excited about being a part of this tomorrow night. And it's really about females and as women, knowing that we are worthy of making money. I think there's a thin line on understanding that what we're worth, and that once you understand your worth, then the money comes effortlessly. And it's my journey in understanding my relationship with money. And so, and how that's going to impact and help so many different women when it comes to business and making money. So I'm excited. I want to thank Tony for inviting me on, and we're going to help each other grow our money consciousness so that way we can be able to impact lives.
Shanika, it's not just for Primerica people, is it?
No, it's not just for Primerica. This is for any female that you have in your life, because we need to grow. And it's an area that you know, employee wise, we don't think about money. And so therefore we don't have it. And so it's for any woman that you know, any female that you know, have them plug in tomorrow night. We're going to have an awesome time, just really relating to one another and helping each other grow. So no, let's pass it out to anyone that you know, that's a female, that's you know, in the money making environment.
Thank you very much, Shanika. And they picked two fine people to lead it. Of course, Tony was the one that put me on that book, Worthy. And you got a lot of that book, Tony, I know, and it transformed you. And it's kind of a shocker to you, wasn't it? Worthy, how self-worth equals net worth. And that's what you're going to be talking about tomorrow night.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
8 o'clock, yes, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Central time tomorrow night.
Yes, exactly, Coach. And I think really, you know, Shanika and I talked about this. I'm so super excited for tomorrow, because just reading that book made me realize all the shadow beliefs that we have. And you think, I'm thinking the right things. I'm reading Bill Orender. I'm doing the right things. But if you ever feel like you're being hamstrung, and I'll say this too, and I hope Shanika doesn't mind, you don't have to be a female to be part of this meeting. If you're a father with daughters, you really need to be in this meeting.
Yes, 100%.
Because
I'm going to be,
yeah.
I want to hear, I want to learn, because not just for the women in my hierarchy, but for me. We all can get better. So continue, Tony.
No, Coach, that's really pretty much it. That's just, my goal is to help bring people along to where I've been exposed to. And I feel like I've walked into the Cowboy Stadium after watching it on my phone for years and years and years, in terms of wealth mindset. And Shanika, she has so much wisdom in this, and it's just a great teacher. So really looking forward to it, Coach. I think we're going to have a great time. And to answer the chat, it is the same link as Century Club.
So
Same
just
link, same password, everything, sir.
And then again, for those that aren't, we will have Century Club next week. Everything's going to be normal. And we have, we'll be talking to everybody next Tuesday, 11:30 Dallas time. James, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The words were priceless. And Shanika, Tony, thank you for doing this tomorrow night. We'll talk to everybody. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.